you change it when I look at you? Okay. Oh, can you press it? Okay. Pets. Why do people love pets so much? What makes pets so endearing and lovable? Humans and pets have a special connection, a bond that may even be stronger than relationships between lovers. This is probably why people would dump their lover for their pet. So who here has or has had at least one pet? Yeah, sadly, I don't right now, so I don't have one to bring to school. But those of you who raise your hands, you might know what I'm talking about. So anyway, one of the main reasons why people love pets so much is because of the benefits and positive influences they bring to both themselves and their owners. The strongly built relationship between the two connect deeply, improving both mentally, physically, emotionally, and as well as themselves as a person. Since you have a little companion by your side, you may start seeing improvements in your physicality and your physical habits. Let's say someone has a dog. They may have the responsibility to walk their dog regularly, and it'll help the owner breathe some fresh air, especially when the owner is a teenager. It'll give some time away from all that technology and laziness. It'll also boost their motivation to exercise, as one might want to go for a jog with their dog. It'll help maintain their good health, prevent obesity, diabetes, and other bodily problems. As for improvements as a person, one might gain skills in caretaking, protection, and independency. Choosing to have a pet means commitment and dedication and decision-making on your own. You'll have to take them to the vet, choose their food, clean them up, and other responsibilities as well. Children with pets are a nice sight as well. It'll help them express themselves better, bringing out the inner responsibility in them. Mentality and health-wise, one may face countless benefits. Naturally, people become 100 times happier just when they see their pets. Pets bring happiness, as they reciprocate the owner's feelings, especially when food is given to them, because who doesn't love food, you know? Anyway, pets decrease loneliness and help with mental health issues. According to researchers and doctors, people with pets are less likely to suffer from depression, anxiety, and even dementia. Pets reduce heart attacks, lower blood pressures, and even boost the immune system. This is because the owner knows that someone is beside them wherever and whenever, so they feel safe. So how does this all work? Both the owner and the pet release this chemical called oxytocin inside their brain. Oxytocin is mainly brought up with childbirth, labor, or feelings of pleasure, but it is not just limited to just those three. It is also released when we see or interact with those we love. Oxytocin causes many physiological changes, such as decreased stress, lower heart rate, and cause calmness and comfort. According to South African researchers, pets can increase levels of other neurochemicals as well, just by merely touching or talking with the pet. This is why pet and animal therapy exists. But of course, this does not mean that having a pet is the key to winning in life. Maybe they don't like them, they can't have them, parents don't allow it, or they're not interested, or allergy issues. Whatever may be the reason, however, this is the same feeling as seeing something or someone you love. You can experience the same thing as if you had a pet, if you have a little brother or sister, or it's just someone you can take care of. It's just that pets are a bit easier to deal with. Pets and other animals are important to humans, and they've even been around longer than we have. Pets and humans share a special connection dating back to prehistoric times where they can be seen by cave drawings. The more love you give and the more time you spend with them, the stronger the bond. Now is your time to find your own connection. Whether it's with a loving pet or someone special, make your own unique connection to make a better you. Thank you.
All right. That was a great way to start our TED Talks. Let's get a round of applause for Kayla. Keep the applauses going, because up next we got Hector.
Hello? Oh, shit. What's up with you? I love you too, bro. What up? When? Hey, they could just see my password, bro. All right, it's me. Hold on. Yeah. Damn, I gotta carry hella stuff in my hand. You can just look at, yeah, you can look at this. All right, just look at you? All right. Bro, I'm kind of sick. All right. I'm good right here? All right. Where Mr. Corona at? All right. I gotta introduce myself first. I'm good? Just start? All right. All right. All right, I'm ready. All right. All right. So in today's society, many people view playing high school sports as a great benefit, and many parents want their children to participate because of all the great things that could come with playing it. They're right for thinking that because there are many great opportunities that come and open. There are many doors that open with playing sports, but there are also many disadvantages when playing sports. Although there are disadvantages, though, the advantages outweigh those disadvantages, and I believe that kids should take upon a sport and create new pathways in their life. All right, so first is the risk of injuries. Many athletes, even though they may be good in the sport that they play, often face injuries, somewhat fatal in some cases, but others not so much. They'll be able to bounce back within a couple months or so. Another one is fatigued individuals. Kids, everybody here knows that when you get a workload of homework and you play a sport or have work, it's tough at home and you can't really get the homework done. So that is one other big factor that plays with playing sports. All right, lastly, is time consuming. Although a person may love the sport that they're playing and enjoy every bit and memory of it, they don't get to enjoy the free time that they could possibly have if they didn't play the sport with their friends, whether it be going out to parties or doing their own thing, whatever they enjoy. All right, you go. All right, but now benefits. Everybody knows that when playing a sport, your physical health gets better. You got to train, you got to go to do conditioning, whatever you got to do for the sport, and it plays a big factor. Whether you're a skinny person, medium-sized person, even big people don't be discouraged. You could play big sports too, so it's whatever you put your mind to, and if you want to play it, then you could do it. All right, an increase in grades. Studies have shown that the average GPA of those who participate in sports have a 2.8 GPA, but those who don't participate have a 2.6. So even though it's just a slight increase in the GPA, it still makes a big difference in kids' lives. All right, so gaining responsibility, discipline, and becoming a leader. Depending on your role in the sport that you play, you could come out with much more leadership skills than others, whether it be you're the team captain, whatever. But responsibility. if you're on a team and you're really dedicated to getting the most out of it, you're gonna go home, do your homework, go to work, whatever it is, you're gonna put your mind to it and do the best for you. And discipline. When you're on a team, you can't really be messing around. Well, you can, but it's not gonna give you the best outcome. So you gotta be disciplined, and even when you're playing a sport, those traits that you gain are gonna come out into the real world and help you. So, yeah. All right, that's it. All right, hold on, bro, hold on. Let me find that card. All right, well, no, I know. All right, so in 1971 and 1972, there were only 4 million participants in sports in high school. And till this day, it has grown to 8 million. And I feel that every kid should just try it at least and not have to say, oh, I didn't try a sport, and I'd rather everybody in here get the chance to participate and see if they liked it or not. So just take some advice and go try a sport. Yeah, thank you. I love all y'all. Yeah. Hey, go to SoundCloud right quick. Not Hey, this is my boy Juan. I'm gonna be with him later today.
Alright, know what's up?
Ricardo's finna be there. Amber could come. It's boys' night out, but she could tag along. Announce them. All right, who's next?
My boy Austin.
Who?
I'm MC, bro. I'm MC.
Him right here? Alamano! Woo! Oh, Austin. My boy Austin. Yeah, he's up. We about to get it cracking for Austin, so let's give him a big round of applause. Woo! Austin! You got any words? You want to speak, bro? Yeah, you good?
No, I'm good.
She spoke. All right, you good? I love you.
Sorry? Oh, yeah. Just click this one.
Right to go right.
Okay. Hi, Miss Cindy. I miss you. I tried. I miss you too, Mr. Corona. Okay. Ready? Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about the evolution of technology. A concern that everyone really has is that does technology really benefit us? There's many cases of where kids are too distracted with their phones and other devices, and some people think that it can affect their grades and education. And another concern is that people think that technology might take over, as in work and etc. And even this guy can take over one day too. Before I start off with the benefits of technology, I want to talk about the evolution and timeline of technology. First off, technology has helped us through communication, and cameras have helped keep memories of history and also entertainment. And as in for modern day, there's cars, cell phones, and TVs. Those are entertainment, transportation, and there's so much more that I can name, but I'm gonna keep it short. And as for the future, who knows what we might have and how it might help us. And for now, technology, how it has helped us. Starting off with physically disabled people. It has helped them through like prosthetic arms, legs, and don't forget medical services, technology. Without technology, we wouldn't have been able to discover so much things about our bodies that we would have never found out about. And not to mention work and business. Can you imagine how your homework would have been without your computer, internet, and it would have been hard without it, right? And last but not least, transportation. Without transportation, how would you go to places that you would have been wanted to go, or for any other reasons you want to travel, etc. Before we didn't have all planes that can carry so much passengers to get them to places where they need to be. Thank you.
You just press right. Yeah.
We're good? All right, so today I'll be talking about how to build a successful career in the music industry, making money, but doing what you love at the same time. Now, there's many steps in order to give yourself just a small chance of making it in the industry. But using these tips, it will give you the education and experience you'll need to be able to give yourself a higher chance and put yourself ahead of the competition. And it will enable you to achieve your dream job through hard work and dedication. Before you invest in anything, you have to know what you want to be in the industry. There's many types of jobs in the field, such as producers, managers, and artists. And each type of job has a specific job underneath it. For example, there's artists, tour, and day-to-day managers. And lastly, once you know what you want to be, that's when you can start investing in things you'll need in the future. You can start investing in the basic equipment needed for your job. And for most, it's basically a computer, digital audio workstation, and speakers or headphones. It's very hard to get into the industry without past experience with any sort of music-making program. I use, as well as many other artists, use Ableton and Pro Tools, even though they are expensive. Some cheaper options would be FL Studio and Machine. However, you're getting less with those two programs, and I recommend getting Ableton and Pro Tools, even though it's costly, because all studios use those two programs, and it's the industry standard for programs. All right, after that, you don't need to do this part, but you should make an expense list of what you need for now. But the only things you should write are the things you need in the present. Later, you can buy the other things that you need. But in the startup, you should get what you need first to avoid wasting money. Things you should need in the beginning are things like a keyboard, a workstation, speakers, and mics. All right, one way or another, you'll have a studio to record your music. There's many types of studios, such as home, project, and professional studios. A home studio is just all the necessities you need, nothing extra. And a project studio is a little bit more advanced equipment, but basically a home studio. And the professional high-end studio is the studio with all the high-end equipment and high-end speakers and all that stuff. And if you're coming from the ground up, you'll more likely have a home studio. All right. When signing to a label, you should always go for independent labels over the bigger labels. Independent labels are massively growing in size as well as popularity. And bigger labels also sign people who think will only make them the most money, while independent labels sign artists for the artists and care more about you and give you more time to work on what you want to work on. Okay, once you have all of that finished, you will need to put your name out there, have some sort of merchandise, be active on any social media to communicate with your fan base. And the most important thing you'll need to do is advertise, because if you don't advertise, no one will know you and won't hear your music and stuff. All right. And in conclusion, from these tips, you should be able to make a successful career and self-support yourself from the ground up. Thank you.
All right, clap it up, because up next we got Viviana.
Just a reminder to everybody, make sure you're speaking.
Miss Sennett, can you see me?
Make sure you're speaking directly into the mic.
Can you hold this? I don't want to. No. It's on YouTube. And it's on YouTube. Yeah. It's your grade. Does this work? This one? No, but like, does this clicker work? Yes, it does. And do I just press this button? Yes. Oh, okay. Thanks. You're awesome. Oh my god, I forgot my purse. Sorry. All right. Do I have to say my name?
Pedro, you're up next. Yep.
I told you. I think you should say something. That's it. Just do whatever you want. Ask me. Should I say the title? Should I say my name? Should I say the title too? All right. Hi. Okay. Recently I went on a trip. Sorry. Wait, what do I press? What do I am. I don't know. No. Can you help me? Try it. Oh. Okay. Recently, I went on a trip to Hawaii and had the opportunity to take a boat out into the ocean and swim with wild dolphins, whale watch, and snorkel. My instructor took me among many of the reefs of Kona and Hilo to snorkel, and I was beyond excited for the experience. Unfortunately, it was very devastating to see that the reefs were lifeless, completely deserted, and dead. Being saddened by these unfortunate sightings, I surfaced and recollected myself. While on the boat, I was able to listen in on the radio callings coming in to hear about the problems with boats and whales and the fines that will be collected due to inappropriate actions taken by these sailors and regulations they broke to make money with tourists. Humans continue to kill endangered animals in our ocean and kill the homes of many fish due to ignorant choices. This, fortunately, can all be prevented by us in many ways. Coral reefs provide habitats for a large chunk of the world's underwater creatures to protecting humans from dangerous waves and many more. According to Climate SOS, coral reefs take up only 0.1% of the seabed, but support 25% of marine life. Coral reefs bring in tourism because of its beauty of exploration, protect coastlines from powerful waves, flooding, and prevent coastal erosion. Many Pacific Islanders depend on reefs for food as well as protection from storms. Now that the reef is dying and bleaching and can no longer do its job, fishers say that they have to go further out and it takes them longer to get out there, and the returns are declining. If the reefs are lost, where would the fish go? If there's no reef, then maybe it's the end, doomsday, said from an anonymous source. Everyone must be curious. Why is our reef dying? More than 3 billion pieces of plastic larger than 5 centimeters wide are littering coral reefs across the Pacific region. There is enough plastic to make it from the Earth to the moon and halfway back. Plastic doesn't just affect our coral, but also our marine life. Plastic harms our marine life by physically hurting them. Furthermore, toxins are also absorbed into their body and passed up the food chain. When plastics break apart in the ocean, they also release potentially toxic chemicals which can enter the food web. We can end plastic pollution in our ocean by just taking a few adjustments to our daily lifestyle. Since the beginning of the 20th century, the temperature of our sea surface has increased and they continue to rise. Not able to cope with the unusually warm temperatures, coral reefs have experienced mass bleaching events at increasingly short intervals. When water temperatures get too warm, corals will expel the colored microscopic algae living in their tissue, which provide them with nutrition. When corals are without the algae for too long, they die of starvation. Unfortunately, bleaching is believed to have killed as much as half the coral reef in the Great Barrier Reef in recent years. Coral bleaching is a response to our Earth's horrible climate change. There is too much CO2 in our ocean causing acidification. Ocean acidification is a term used to describe significant change to the chemistry of the ocean. Helping to end global warming is one step to help save our coral reefs. We cannot control what's happening in other countries, but we can fight to save and clean our ocean and its reefs. 9 simple steps that can be made by you are conserving water, using biodegradable products, dispose of your trash properly by recycling and composting and not littering, supporting reef-friendly businesses, planting a tree, practice safe and responsible diving and snorkeling, volunteer for a coral reef cleanup, contact your government representatives, and most importantly, spread the word. Thank you. This is sad. This is real and sad, and it's our fault. So we need to save our planet. Thank you.
Here. All right, guys. So, yeah, guys, Paulita's next. Oh, snap, give me on like an airplane. I'm just kidding. No. Thank you. So, guys, it's not my TED Talk. Catch me on, I don't know. What? Anyways. Hey, say the joke. No, it's kind of inappropriate. Rated R. Wait, say it? Yeah, say it. Who can see this live stream? Oh, hey, slime classes. How are you guys doing? Okay, everybody who wants to watch it, look at me. Okay. Bye, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you. Ooh, okay, I see the problem everybody had. Hey, guys.
You guys are going to be on the ramp. You have to be quiet. Okay? Just so you know.
All right, so my TED Talk is going to be about the introvert ideal that is being ignored in the U.S. We're all different. We all have our own different needs, our own different personalities, and we don't really notice that. We hide it sometimes, but we're all different people. In a world that won't stop talking, introverts have been taught that their comfort is wrong, that them enjoying being alone isn't the way it should be. There's no open environment where an introvert won't be called the loner, the shy kid, the awkward person in the group. When our environment has been designed for extroverts, excluding introverts, one begins to wonder, how did this happen? Why do we have to keep going into groups to come up with brilliant ideas? Before I talk about the cause and effects, you need to know what introversion and extroversion are. An introvert is one of the major personalities traits identified in many theories of personality. People who are introverted tend to be inward thinkers, focused on internal thoughts, feelings, and moods rather than seeking external stimulation. Introverts are drained by social encounters and energized by solitary, often creative pursuits. Their disposition is frequently confused as shyness, social phobias, or even avoidant personality disorders. But many introverts socialize easily. They just strongly prefer not to. The extrovert is a person who tends to focus on the external world and people. People often associate being socially outgoing with extroversion, but that is too simplistic. Extroverts gain energy being with people and the external environment. They need more stimulation to feel happy and energized. Introversion is not a disease. It's not an insult, and it isn't taken into consideration in the United States. In Susan Cain's book, Quiet in a World That Won't Stop Talking, it is focused on how the extrovert ideal came to be. In the early 1900s, the businessman began to rise. The US began to gain profit, and introversion was ignored. Personality was being sold for a profit. People sold themselves more or less just to gain a few extra pennies. The extrovert ideal began to grow popular at parties and a business center, and before we knew it, extroverts took over America, leaving introverts to deal with their scraps. Okay, so in Harvard, Susan Cain went down and she asked around. And she was looking around to see if she could find an introvert, because the rumor was that in Harvard's business school, it was purely extroverted. But introverts are still there. An example is Charlie Lynn, who she questioned and told, do you ever feel alone? Do you feel tired? And he answered, I have to go to all the social events. I don't want to go. This is extra work, and I also have school to go with this. Great minds like Charlie Lynn are being limited and forced into exhaustion with the social ideals. This exclusion of introverts will have terrible consequences. The greatest thinkers, the wisest leaders, think profound and deep thoughts. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds like an introvert to me. Ex-President Obama, Director Guillermo del Toro, Einstein, Marilyn Monroe, and Rosa Parks, the revolutionary against segregation, didn't need a loud voice to get their ideas out. So why is it that now we are mainly focused on extroverted people to influence our world? With this extrovert ideal, we are forcing the youth and adults to hide and feel like they don't belong. If you don't believe that the extrovert ideal is real or that it is causing an impact, go ahead and Google how to fix introversion. It's a personality, not a disorder. But you're still going to receive tons of different tips and websites on how it can be fixed. If you still don't think that this is a problem, if you still don't think that this is just something that I'm making up, go ahead and Google how to fix extroversion. Nothing's there. Only the repeats of how to fix introversion. Tell me this isn't real. Tell me this isn't a problem that people have to change their entire personality, their comfort zones, just to get an A, just to get a good grade in a group project, just to be heard. Forcing people to be something they're not, forcing half of the population on this earth to put on a mask and pretend that they like being here on the stage. Introversion is not a problem. It isn't a flaw in a human being. It's part of a person and meant to be shown, not hidden. Whether it's you just sitting in the corner reading a book, whether it's somebody not going to a party that they've been invited. Extroverts are great, but they are not the only personality that everyone is expected to have. Who's next?
Yes. All right. Clap it up, because up next we got Femi.
His computer.
Oh, Jason, come on up.
Mr. Farley, if you're watching, your computer's about to die.
Nine.
You want us to sign it? Yeah. Sebastian, can you go tell him?
Yeah. It dies of me.
I don't know, but I don't know if there's a plug. Yeah, it is, I think.
No.
No, it's not. Oh, she got it. Don't press present. You don't want this thing?
That's just loud. Yeah. What?
Do you have the clicker? Yeah, okay. Cool. Whenever you're ready.
All right. First off, let me start off with a question. Is the environment important to you? How important is the environment, and what do you think about environment? Think of those questions and form an answer in your head. These answers in your head right now is what you think about the environment. The environment itself is beautiful and amazing. However, most of those beautiful places are either gone or destroyed by pollution, deforestation, global warming, or the other neglectance of the environment. For example, a quote from Donald Trump. Global warming is a scam made by China. This is an example of an asshole who only thinks about his own greed rather than anything else. That person is one of the multiple people who thinks that the environment isn't important enough, it is even relevant, or how it will benefit them. If we don't start now in protecting our environment, what do you think would happen? Do you think everything will be okay and it will just sort itself? That's what you would like for it to happen. However, not everything will go as it's planned. There's already multiple beautiful places that have been destroyed or died off because of the bad changes that are happening in the world. Places such as Guaira Falls, Wedding Cake Rock, Chakatia Glacier, and some places that will disappear later on are the Great Barrier Reef, Venice, Italy, or the Dead Sea. Those are some of the places out of multiple places that can be gone forever. With these places gone, the environment can turn for the worse, having non-stop storms or extreme weathers, such as last year we had multiple cases of tornadoes, earthquakes, tsunamis, and extreme weathering in multiple places in the world, causing massive destruction and millions of lives costed through these disasters. Since the environment is changing, millions of animals are in danger. They are being driven to extinction because of habitat change, deforestation, and poaching. About thousands of species are going extinct each year. The amount is so much, scientists can't keep up with the amount. Would you be sad that these places are gone, or do you not care at all? Did these pictures impact you at all? If it did, please try to do something. Even if it's little, like recycling, saving water, saving electricity, prevent pollution, picking up trash. No matter how big or small it is, try it. So my last question is, Should we try or should we just give up on it?
Who's up next?
Mr. Farley says get your big head out of the way. Oh my God. You said it?
Yeah, I guess.
Mr. Farley says get your big head out of the way, Sebastian.
Tell him to get his ego in check.
That's
I
disrespectful.
decorated him with tea.
That was a great, serious talk by Jason. But to lighten up the mood, we got a little joke for you guys. Did you guys know that French fries weren't made in France? They were made in Greece. Next, we have Gerald. You didn't even say what you had to say, bro.
All right, so I'm doing my presentation on artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence has been in development since the 40s. It really hasn't been called artificial intelligence until a mathematician named Alan Turing has published a paper called Computing Machinery and Intelligence. Years later, the term artificial intelligence has been adopted. Now, there are a lot of movies that portray artificial intelligence positively and negatively, like I, Robot, Terminator, and The Matrix. And one example of a positive portrayal is from a show that aired in the 60s, The Jetsons. Rosie the Robot Maid was a positive portrayal of artificial intelligence. And since The Jetsons has been aired since the 60s, it really shows how far back people have taken an interest in artificial intellects. And a recently popular show on Netflix called Black Mirror has an episode following a dog-like robot, and it had a very negative portrayal on it. And a couple months after, a robotics company called Boston Dynamics has released a video on the internet of their own dog-looking robot opening a door. And when it got to the internet and social media, it did not have a good portrayal on Twitter. People like to compare it to the robot dog on the Netflix show. But despite the negative and positive portrayals, the most advanced and developed artificial intellect in the world, Sophia, has been activated on April 9th, 2015 by Hanson Robotics. Sophia is somewhat of a celebrity because she's been on a lot of talk shows and platforms like with Jimmy Fallon and on Good Morning Britain. Although a lot of advancements in robotics has been positive, a lot of great minds also think that robotics will be very bad for the future. Recently passed away, Stephen Hawking said, and I quote, "The development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race." But everyone has their own opinion, and it may be good, it may be bad, but it's inevitable that artificial intelligence is coming for the future. And now, final question is, do you guys think that artificial intelligence will be bad for the future and it'll prove to be troublesome, or will it just be a necessity, or will it help people for years to come? Thank you.
That was great talk by Gerald. But since y'all didn't like the other joke, I got a new one for you guys. All right, so I was recently reading a book about anti-gravity, and I could never put it down. All right, next is Femi.
Make some noise.
Make some noise. Clap it up for Gerald, too. I draw his hair. If you can hit my dance, hit that shit right now.
Open it up.
Huh?
Row 10. Really?
Row 10, please. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna ask you to leave, please.
Do some stand-up comedy.
Say another joke, Ricky. Say when you're in the bathroom, you're American. When you come out the bathroom.
What was the other one? Oh, what do you call fake pasta? I said that first for you. What do you call fake pasta? An Indian pasta. Tell me, bro. Everyone knows that.
You're American when you go to the bathroom, and you're American when you get out the bathroom. But while you're in the bathroom, you're peeing.
I could move, I gotta stay in one spot. Yeah.
Click this to switch.
Okay. Wait, can I move or I have to stay in one spot? Okay, so, hi, Ms. Senate. Okay. Today I'm going to talk about properly utilizing and monetizing the abundance of resources in Africa in order to build everlasting wealth for all African people and eventually all people. This is important because there are many people of African descent and people who live in Africa who are discouraged and poor and not willing to do anything to get out of that situation. Why do we see Africa as an impoverished continent? Well, when I do a Google search and say Africa or African people, these are the images that come up. So, as you can see, the media is able to control what we see. There are no positive images here. These are children starving, begging for food. These are not the only people that live in Africa. No powerful images, no positive images whatsoever. How can we be enlightened on the wealth and the abundance of resources in Africa? By going to any country in Africa and seeing how rich the people are in culture and in spirit, not just financially. As you can see here, this is the whole continent of Africa and all the resources that Africa is rich in. And for years and years, hundreds of years, thousands of years, Africa has been robbed of all of these resources. And still to this day, we have them. And we're rich with the same resources. A lot of European companies, a lot of Europeans have robbed Africa of all these resources for years and years. As you can see here, $192 billion comes out of Africa every single year, and only $30 billion comes in from overseas aid. Now, why do we need overseas aid if there's $192 billion coming out of Africa? The answer is we don't. The only problem is there are people that are trying to control Africa, which is why you see what you see there. Ways that we can move forward to building wealth in Africa is recognizing our spending power and helping our generations to come, whether they be African kids of African descent or not, and helping them understand how important Africa is in our world as a better part of our society. We can do this by creating outreaches all over the world so that we have children that are able to think critically and not just regurgitate information, so that in the future we don't see this, it's reversed. So there will be 192 billion going into Africa and only 30 billion coming out, as an example. What am I doing? Hold on. What the hell? Okay. I also wanted to give an example of how Africa has been robbed of their resources. As you can see here, this is an image of an Egyptian statue in Egypt, and the nose was shot off because it had African features, and that's what it actually looks like. So that's also an example of how African features have been robbed. So in conclusion, as a society, we need to recognize spending power, recognize the abundance of resources, and unify in order to create a better global society.
Let's clap it up for Femi. Great topic.
I'm good.
Who's next? Ricky recently went to the grocery store.
Who's next?
Who's next? I'm next.
Huh?
Oh, Eliza. Let's give a warm welcome to Eliza. Yeah.
Say your joke.
What joke?
The milk one.
The milk one?
Yeah.
I recently went to Walmart and I bought some milk. And the cashier told me, row 10, get out of here. Nah. All right, back to my. I was buying milk, right? And that cashier told me, do you want it in a bag? And I was like, nah, keep it in the carton. Tough crowd, tough crowd. Better content, huh? Damn!
So, what do you call Mexican for rubber toes? Alright, go. She's ready.
Here you go, Eliza.
Hi, Miss Innit. I gotta remember myself. People are constantly silencing you from speaking your mind. From the parents that restrict you but they mean well. From the siblings that can argue with you endlessly because they think they have the upper hand. And even from the teachers that just send you out because they always think they're right. Even from those friends that are stuck in a heated argument and you can't really give your opinion because it seems that their opinions matter more. Well, you're not alone. I've been in that situation, and I'm pretty sure everyone in this room has. But in those situations, you have to realize that your voice does matter. You just have to know what's the first step to being heard. In 1789, the Constitution of the United States of America issued the first 10 amendments. Within the First Amendment, there is the freedom of speech, where we have the right to speak what we want and whenever we want it. The Founding Fathers' intentions for the people of America is for them to speak without fear of prosecution. Yet there are so many of us staying silent rather than speaking out. Without people's opinions on certain topics and their passion to fight for it, our society would be completely different. Let's go back in time to Martin Luther King Jr. and the Montgomery bus boycott. It started out as a small detail, but with a deep meaning behind it. Those with colors sent to the back of the bus, away from the whites. And then the incident with Rosa Parks happened, where the bus driver asked her to get out of her seat to make way for a white lady, when clearly Miss Rosa Parks was in the right. Martin took that opportunity. He knew right then and there that he wanted equal treatment for the people, for him and his people. He knew that there'd be obstacles in the way that would stop him from succeeding. He knew that there would be people degrading him for standing up against the majority race. And he knew that this journey would be a long process. But did he go around sitting in the chair saying, no, I'm not going to do this. I can't do this. I don't have the will. No, he took a stand. He used his voice and he used his most memorable speech, I have a dream. With his words and with his efforts, he accomplished the major goal. Now, with that, with what happened, African Americans today might have been more oppressed. Might have been more oppressed. But I'm not saying that African Americans have it better than us now. No, they're still fighting for their rights because they have that right. What happened in Montgomery? It paved the path for future leaders to keep going and to fight for what was right. We cannot achieve anything by staying silent. We cannot succeed by staying silent. Our voices should not be silenced. Correction, our voices will not be silenced. The only way that can happen is yourself. If you can't put the effort to be heard, you're not going to be heard. You have to put effort to be heard. Do not hesitate to use your gift. Your voice is a gift. No one else will use it but you. Thank you.
Lunch is about to start.